I had a comment on one of my videos this morning that actually stopped me and made me look back and start thinking. And the comment was basically about how this person has carried regrets with them on things that have happened in their life, or things that they've done, or things that they haven't done from way back to when they were a teen. And I don't know about you, but I think I've done exactly the same. I know for a fact I've looked back over my life and had regrets that I wish I'd done something different about, and I'm sure you have too. But the fact of the matter is, the past is in the past, and all we can do is take what we've learned into the future. I've mentioned this before in my videos, and I think it bears mentioning again. The mistakes we've made in the past, the failures we've made in the past, the things that we didn't do that we wish we had, or the things that we didn't say that we wish we'd said. There's not much you can do about it because it's in the past. We've often beaten ourselves up over it, and it's really a pointless exercise, you know. But here's the thing. For all of those things in the past that we've done, we have had 100% survival rate. We're still here. If we keep clinging on to all those things that have happened in the past, it's not going to help us, you know. And here's the reason why. We all judge ourselves on the mistakes from way back then. But what you've got to realise is that the person way back then is a different one to the person that you are now. Look at it this way. Those mistakes and those regrets and things that happened in the past, you didn't sit there at that time and think, right, how can I cock this up? How can I make things worse than they possibly are? Of course you didn't. You went with the information that you had then. The beauty of life is that you have learning lessons along the way. And so where you are now, I'm 65. If I look at something that I did when I was, say, 17 or 18, I'm a much different person to the one that I was at 17 or 18. I know a whole heap more than I did at 17 or 18. In fact, I'd go as far as to say at 16, 17 and 18, I was pretty stupid. And I carried that into my 20s just to make sure. But do you know what I mean? The experiences that you've had over your lifetime, all of those mistakes, they're where your learning lessons are, you know. You don't really learn a lot from the stuff that goes well. Where you learn are from the things that go wrong, and they provide you with the insight to not make the mistakes again as you're moving forward. Unless, of course, you are like me and you do make them twice just to make sure. The tools you had at the time aren't the tools you have now. And the thing is, you're talking about a different person to the one that you are now. You may not realise, but you've learned so much of those intervening years. Think of one thing that you thought was the end of the world at the time, that now you look back and laugh on. I've got plenty of examples of that in my life, and I'm sure you have too. It's because you've changed and you've grown. Here's another thing. If you feel regret for stuff from the past, then it's a sign, you know, that you've grown as a person. Because if you didn't regret that, you would be at the same level as you were there. You have become a different person and you can see things in different ways to what you could. And the only thing I can think of that is that your vision now back and regretting that stuff is a win because you've actually learned something along the way. The trouble is that we often beat ourselves up and don't realise that we're a different person looking back and we're judging ourselves on who we were then. Someone else said in a comment the other day that moving targets are harder to hit. And that's very true, you know. You see, we have these ideas when we're younger that we're here and we want to be there, and it's a straight line. But life isn't like that, you know. Life is a curveball. It chucks it everywhere and it comes at you at a different angle, that way or that way. And because of that, what happens is we want to be there, but we're here and we look in a straight line and think that's the way. But life takes us on a little amble, a preamble round all the different obstacles. And so it's okay to have things in your life that don't go straight. It's okay to be aiming for something in your life and you may not get straight there because something will crop up. That's fine. It really isn't the end of the world if you don't have a straight line to your life. But think about this. If everything had gone the way that you thought it would, there'd have been no joy in it. Because for me, what I think is that when I look back at the mistakes that I made and the things that went wrong and the things that I lost along the way even, when I look back now, I'm kind of proud of who I've become because of what I had to overcome. And it's no different from me to you, you know. If you look back at those things that have knocked you a step backwards, when your life's been going and it's like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, or sometimes even 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. The thing is, you've found a way round. And because of that, you've learned. Had it been straightforward, you wouldn't have. So you wouldn't have developed as a person. And you see, all of those things, when you've moved, you've become harder to hit. When you've learned something, it's harder to knock you down because you now have defense for that. And so, yeah, that moving target is harder to hit. But if we look at our life as a tapestry, we've got a tapestry of things. We start at one end and then we're working our way through this tapestry, waiting to finish it. But that tapestry that may be 3/4 done now has been one stitch at a time. That's how it's been, one stitch at a time. And all you have to do now is focus on the one stitch that will take you a step further forward. Because that's the thing about life, it's a journey. And it's a journey in which you've learned a lot. But for many of us, the biggest problem is that we may have learned it, but we haven't forgiven ourselves for being the person that we were at 17, 18, 25, 40. Does that make sense to you? I do hope so. And there's something else. You don't realise how important you are. And if you don't believe that, watch this video up here and I'll tell you why. I'll see you next time.